Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. Today we're going to be unboxing Beyond the Threshold. Now this is an expansion for Mansions of Madness and is truly a new expansion for the second edition. The very first edition actually never had this content as part of it from my understanding. This is the first new content that this second edition currently has. The two previous unboxings that I did, which were for reoccurring nightmares and suppressed memories, were really just to add figures and tiles to the second edition game to get the second edition version up to snuff with the first edition that had already been released for those people that had missed those expansions or didn't already own the tiles and figures from the previous version. This, on the other hand, is truly its own second edition expansion, brand new content. Now, the thing is, I haven't played Mansions of Madness, the base game. I haven't incorporated recurring nightmares or suppressed memories into my game just yet. I'm just about to dive into this game myself, so this is new territory for me because what I'm going to open up and look at right now, I'm going to show you guys, is things I haven't seen or understood myself. So this truly is a clean, true unboxing with me having no prior knowledge to what this content really adds, so we'll find out when we crack the box open. So the box itself obviously originally would have had packaging around it and stuff like that, like clear packaging. I've already taken that off. So everything inside of it's still packaged up, complete. So it truly is a good unboxing still. So we'll go ahead and take this one off. But first, before I do that, I'll just flip it over and show you guys the back of the box. So this is essentially what's on the very, very back. And I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but essentially, if I just zoom in this for you guys, there is much to learn. And you can kind of see there that there's it obviously requires the Mansions of Madness second edition to play. It looks like it comes with a handful of new tiles in really small print right here, which is very difficult to see. You can see that there's, actually I'm sure you guys are having a hard time seeing it, but essentially there's a handful of new items that are new to this particular game. So you're going to get a new rule sheet, 6 maps, 2 investigator cards, and plastic figures to go with them, 8 common items, 1 unique item card, 10 spell cards, 9 condition cards, 4 damage cards, 4 horror cards, 4 monster tokens, and plastic figures, 16 fire and darkness tokens, and 10 clue tokens, 7 person tokens, 2 wall tokens, and 4, oops, sorry about that, and 4 key tokens. So at the end of the day, a lot of tokens is really what they could have just said to sum that up. But essentially what this is going to do is really just add on top of what you already have in your set. So let's go ahead and flip this over. I'm going to bring the camera back out so that you guys can actually see what the heck is going on. I know you're just looking at the wonderful picture of the mansion itself, which is no good to you. So here we go. Here is the box itself. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. So as soon as you open up the box, now this is different to... well, I won't even say that. This is exactly as it would be when you take the packaging off the product. Everything's still saran wrapped, or not saran wrapped, but wrapped in packaging and stuff like that, clear plastic. You obviously see the typical Fantasy Flight advertisement, which you may or may not care about. But to get to the game contents itself, looks like they provide you with a sheet. This is kind of in line with Eldritch Horror and Arkham Horror in terms of giving you guys a new expansion icon that everyone's supposed to refer to, so that you can, if you're going to split the game up and stuff like this later on, you can easily sort things. It also gives you an overview, shows you how to use the expansion and probably merge it in. Things, of course, that I will wait to do. On the back, it gives you a list of components. You can double check to ensure that all the components that are supposed to be there as part of the expansion are there. And of course, if any are missing, you can contact Fantasy Flight in order to get those replaced or sent to you, I imagine free of charge if they're missing. There's some additional rules, actually, which I'm kind of surprised about, but I didn't actually assume that this new expansion would come with new rules, but I just noticed it now. So moving tiles, key tokens that they referred to earlier when we were talking about components. I guess there's some rules specific to that, so they probably come into play in maybe one of the scenarios. Now, I could be wrong about this, but from what I understand, or what I've heard at least, from Beyond the Threshold, this expansion, I believe this unlocks one additional scenario that this product uses. Now, I could be wrong, there might be 2. But it also, I believe all this kind of stuff ends up being molded into the app where you can enable this product inside of the app, which then gives more variation to scenarios. I won't get into specifics about how much variation that causes because I don't have a chart and I'm not going to pull out an Excel sheet for you and try to build that. But there are people on Board Game Geek who have gone to the trouble of determining roughly how many different variations of each particular scenario there is. And there's a good handful. I think there's, if I remember correctly, on the App Store currently, to date, when this video is published, there's 9. And I think only one of those 9 is a DLC purchasable scenario. The rest are free, pending that you actually purchase the expansions that they coordinate with. So that's the best way to say it. So essentially, when you open up this expansion here, you're going to get yourself, looks like a couple more tiles. So we might as well take a look at those, because that seems kind of cool. So I'll put these off to the side. I didn't bring down a knife, so that wasn't very smart. So I don't have anything on me to quickly cut this, so I'll just rip it open aggressively. But it looks like it's got some new character tokens and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. And also, I mean, it never hurts to have new areas to explore and new tiles, so that's kind of exciting. Again, like I'm actually like more excited than I probably should be to jump in this game, because I really love the Lovecraftian type background of stuff. It's not, I wouldn't say like it's my favorite theme ever, but it's certainly high on the scale. In terms of horror, this is kind of what I gravitate towards. So anyway, you got yourself, looks like some really nice yard tiles. You have yourself a library, so some new stuff there. Looks like you got some new enemies. So thralls are going to show up, which are these guys that look like, this is actually a woman here who looks like her arm has been mutated into some crazy bubbling mess, and I'm sure she's extremely happy to see you within the mansion. You got yourself some tiles here, so these are fire tiles. Now, I think what they're doing here with this expansion is they realize that possibly there's an element within the main game where you can set fires in the mansion, and I think what they're doing here essentially is either one of two things. Either this scenario that's going to be played out in this expansion is going to incorporate a lot of fire, obviously, or it's just because there wasn't enough fire tokens in the previous second edition box, so this is their way of making it up. I'd assume the former. I'd assume that this is going to most likely have fire as a primary source of the scenario that it lays out for this one. But who knows, right? Like, I don't know. I'll tell you once I find out, though, as soon as we play through it. The hall stairs here, so this is really cool. Actually gives you some depth. Kind of makes it look like it actually is going to... That's one of the things I really like and appreciate with this game is it is on the pricier side, obviously, to pick it up, but the artwork's really, really nice. And it's really good. Like, if you look at this, the detail in the... You're not going to be unhappy about the artwork in terms of the detail behind each tile. They're very, very detailed. And Fantasy Flight does a great job of that. So here's another kitchen scene. This one looks like kind of like a disaster kitchen. Like this is a kitchen storage room over there to the left. And you kind of got like a kitchen set up here. Again, you got some obstacles, looks like pictures, some, looks to be like some type of chest, glass cabinet. You got a dining room, of course. So just another addition to the dining room setup. I don't think we had a circle table in the other one. If I remember correctly, it was a rectangle. So this is probably a separate dining room setup. Also, it looks like we got some different characters. So, I mean, I don't know how many of these characters are going to show up in this playthrough or in these scenarios, but that's a good chunk. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that 8? Yeah, that's it. Oh, no, 7. 7 different new characters there. Now, these are NPCs, essentially, that I believe you would find throughout the mansion. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't played it, but we'll find out. Of course, on the very back gives you like a quick rundown of what their names are. I'll just go across that really quick so you guys can kind of see. You can always pause the video in order to get a gooder look at it. A good look at it. And right here you got your... from what I understand, again, I saw a video how to play of the second edition today, actually, because I'm preparing myself to play through the second edition myself, which is exciting. But I believe this is just signifies a dark room, which is, I'm not going to get into specifics, but it's not good. Really, any room that's dark in this game, probably not a room you want to be in. This one here, Hall Corner. So this is a pretty cool illustrated piece there. Looks a little chair in the corner, stuff like that. And then this one up here looks like some creepy bedroom. It is a bedroom, yeah. So there's a bedroom up in there. There's a teddy bear, some toys, some blocks laying around. Is that a closet? Bedroom storage, yeah, it's basically everywhere you don't want to be in a horror game. So put that aside, that one's done. And last one is this, and it looks like they actually give you some clue tokens as well, so that's pretty cool. So I guess that's a huge bonus in that I think I also heard comments saying that there wasn't enough clues at sometimes in order to ensure that everybody was able to grab them and stuff like that. I'm assuming that's probably when you're playing 5 players when you're going to run into clues. Obviously, if I'm playing this solo, I'm going to have no issues. You get some more fire tokens because, I mean, who doesn't like setting things ablaze? And then you've got a couple keys. And we remembered from the little flyer here that I picked out earlier when I flipped that open for you guys, had some additional rules for the keys. Well, I'm assuming those are it. We've also got what looks to be, what is this? A basement storage. So again, very, very cool artwork. Not the kind of place you really want to go hang out in. Kind of looks like somebody might have been buried in that little bucket there. And then of course like a porch setup. Now I've seen a porch in the main game, but not like that. I don't think it was like a smaller tile like this. I think it was a really big one. And a yard, of course, at the side. On the back side of it, we've got, oh, okay, so I guess it makes sense. On the back of the fire tokens is the darkness tokens. Of course, these are the same with clues and keys. In terms of tiles, though, we've got what looks to be a entry hall area, which doesn't look pleasant at all. Looks like something terrible happened there. And then we've got a balcony. Oh, I don't think we actually had a balcony. I think we might have had like a rooftop balcony in the core game, but I don't think we had like a balcony that looked like that. That's pretty cool. So again, that is the 3 main tile pieces that come with this particular expansion. Now, the other items that come in this one are, of course, bases, and bases are not that exciting, but just signifies how many monsters are in this pack. So in this case, it's believed to be 4. So if we take a look at the miniature bag that came with this expansion, now just so you're aware as well, the cost on this expansion is obviously, I think it's about half the price of the suppressed memories and reoccurring nightmares. Mainly because it's starting to add more content to the game in terms of scenarios. Although I shouldn't say that because I think the other ones also add scenarios too. I guess the best way to say it is they're not miniature heavy. So yes, you are getting some miniatures as you can see here. So we do get some we do get some new investigators to add to the pile, and I think these are the 2 of them right here. And I'd have to grab their character cards to find out who they are. So hopefully this will show up for you guys so you can see it. There they are. So those are the 2 new characters that have been added into this particular scenario. And then of course the really nasty looking mutated armed women that are running around that you probably don't want to find in the mansion. So there's 4 of them, thralls I guess they're called. And of course the bases go on them, and the investigator miniatures obviously don't need any bases, they have them on them. The other things you get in the box are obviously your cards to represent your player boards for each of the 2 new investigators. So now we can find out who they are. Wilson Richards. Now, I'm not familiar with this guy as much. I've seen him in Arkham Horror, but he's typically somebody I think that comes along a little further in most of the games. I don't even think he's available. I could be wrong though. He might be available in one of the newer, in the Dunwich Legacy for Arkham Horror, the card game. But I haven't really played a character. I haven't really played him, to be honest, in any of the games just yet. So you end up getting him with 8 health and then 6 sanity, with all the stats on the side there. And then the other person, which I am familiar with from Eldritch Horror, as well as a few other different games, I have played her, and she's 6 and 8. So essentially, we've got 2 characters that really are opposites of each other in terms of what they focus on. I don't know in terms of their stats. There's a comparison there if you want to see the different stat changes. But yeah, that's essentially the 2. So, I mean, if I remember correctly, there was 8 investigators in the 2nd edition base game. There's 8 in suppressed memories. There's 8 in reoccurring nightmares. And there's 2 in this one. So you're talking 24, 26, if my math's correct. So that's not bad. I mean, that's a pretty solid amount of choice when it comes to bringing some characters into the game. Definitely helps with the replayability of the game, and that's something I appreciate with this kind of Lovecraftian Arkham Horror type stuff. So you also get a bag of cards, which I just opened up off screen here. But essentially, there's a handful more that you can add into your game. Of course, I'm going to hold off on adding these in until I get familiar with the base game, but at some point I will be adding these in. So I'll just quickly kind of go through these so you can see them, because something might kind of pop out at you. So it looks like it's a 0.25 automatic there. We got ourselves a blackjack, an enchanted blade, fine clothes, scribe's journal, razor, tone of horrors, tone of secrets, minor shocks, weak-willed, terrible truce, squeamish, minor injuries, all kinds of paint. So I guess a couple of the bad things that can happen to you. Some journals. I believe these are, I don't know what those are. Mesmerize. I was Memorize. That's one that's not in the base. Insane is, so these are probably some different or new, different insane conditions. Arcane Sight, some spells. That's cool, that's new. Poison Mist, I think, is also new as well. So cool, just, again, enhancing the game, giving you some more options and stuff like that when you end up playing through the mansion. I think that's it. I think that is everything. And of course, with every Fantasy Flight game, whenever you purchase these things, they always have a really cool insert. But at some point in time, I typically end up having to remove it or getting rid of it just to make space. But for now, this is perfect for what I need it to be, which is just to put this stuff back until I decide to incorporate it into the gigantic monster that is Mansions of Madness. So we have technically completed the unboxing of absolutely everything for Mansions of Madness 2nd edition that's currently on the market right now. So I have all of them. Now what I'm going to end up doing is I obviously am planning on returning to the Arkham Horror, the card game, where I'm going to be picking up where I left off in that series. Now for those of you that were following that series and are kind of like, where are you gonna start off there? What I ended up doing was I ended up removing the last 3 videos of that series where I had started Midnight Mass. And the reason being is I'd stopped halfway through, and I don't want to have to reset up the scenario and go forward. Plus I ended up picking up an Arkham Horror card mat and a whole bunch of other things, so I kind of want to start fresh on that and go forward with a new one that everyone can follow and not have to watch the old ones. So anyway, long story short, the Arkham Horror, the card game, is going to be coming up, but I can tell you as well, this Mansions of Madness is going to also be happening. I may even be doing them in parallel, which is going to be fun. I'll try to maybe keep them both set up and bounce back and forth between them, which would be kind of fun. So I guess hold off for those. Those are the 2 things that I'm kind of working on right now. And then of course, Too Many Bones is also another one that's going to be coming up soon. But that one has a lot more rules. So I'm just, again, I'm trying to pack my brain with as much content as I possibly can. But I think the Arkham Horror, the card game, is the one to get at the door next year. And then Mansions of Madness will be quickly following it, or at least in parallel. And Too Many Bones will probably be right behind it. So got a lot in store. But anyway, in terms of the unboxing, guys, this is it. There's nothing else that you can purchase that I'm aware of for Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. I've got everything for now. Of course, knowing Fantasy Flight, they will probably be pumping a new expansion, probably a box this size. Wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in the next couple months, or at least it's announced, sorry, and then it comes out a little bit later. I'll be grabbing that, of course, but I'll probably hold off until I can at least I want to play through a majority of this content first. So my focus will be mainly on getting this to the table so that you guys can actually see this in action. Now, a lot of you guys, I can tell from the comments, some of you, not a lot, but some of you seem to have played this before. Maybe don't have all the content that I ended up getting this time because I kind of locked out, but and was able to acquire it all in one big bundle. But at the same time, there's a lot of people, I think, that are interested in just seeing the game because they've never seen it before. And I'm one of those people, technically. I've never played this game before. I've never seen anyone play it. I've heard it's great. I've heard it's thematic. I heard it's fun. But I don't know. I don't know anything about it. And I can't wait to get into it. So, long story short, hope you guys enjoyed the unboxing. If you did, and you're still here, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked what you saw. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you just happen to come back and forth and pop in every now and then, take a look at the videos, be sure to subscribe because it actually will lay out the whole site differently for you in a more effective manner when you're subscribed versus when you're not. And I actually logged out myself and looked at my site, and there was actually quite a difference between the two. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that like you get notifications and things like that. So it's always a good thing to do. Also, actually, that's pretty much it. So I think that covers the whole thing. The next thing that I'll probably be focusing on in terms of a video to come out will likely be, if it's not a playthrough, it'll likely be a news or updates video. And I'll probably be going over some of the thoughts I have on the channel, some of the things I have upcoming, and just to give you guys an idea of stuff outside of board games, just in terms of what's going on with the Rolling Solo channel. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Until the next time, keep rolling solo.